E3 is dead. The Electronic Entertainment Expo is dead. A week ago, the Entertainment Software Association, or the ESA, announced that E3 will no longer continue. The statement they released was pretty short, so I'm going to read it here. It said, "After more than 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, the time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories." This announcement doesn't really come as much of a surprise. E3 has in essence been dead for the past 2 years, but now it is officially dead. After 2 decades of exciting and sometimes embarrassing events, the ESA has confirmed that E3 will never return. Say what you will about E3, but up until the end, it was the single largest and most important annual event in the entire games industry. And as a fan, I always looked forward to that 1 week with so much anticipation and excitement. It did have controversies. It was absurd at times. It had some of that classic corporate cringe, and it did often appear to be overcrowded and too big. The statement said that each year E3 was bigger than the last, and that was pretty much true, to the point where E3 became a bit too big. And ultimately, it became not exactly worth the cost and the effort that companies were putting into it, when they could have the same audience with a simple online showcase. Despite all this, E3 was something special. Something other events, such as Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards, have not been able to capture quite as well. E3 was legendary. It's important in the industry. It was the first major trade show specifically for the games industry, after they weren't exactly given the prominence that they deserved at CES and other such trade shows. E3 was a place where games industry companies could give their projects the spotlight that they dearly deserved, for the most part, and impress and excite developers, publishers, and fans alike. And for fans like me, it was always the dream, to go to E3, for this 1 week, travel to Los Angeles and experience the excitement in person, to go there and soak it all in, see the reveals firsthand, play these brand new games that were announced, see prominent people from the games industry all in one place. But for people like me who never got to go to E3, that experience isn't gonna be something that we're gonna get to have, ever. And yes, there's Summer Games Fest. Yes, there's the Game Awards. But like I said, those don't exactly have the same feeling. They don't exactly have the same excitement of 1 week where the entire games industry comes together. E3 was something special. And I'd like to reflect a bit as a Nintendo fanboy on some of Nintendo's greatest moments at E3. At E3, we were first introduced to Reggie at his iconic debut. At E3, Nintendo started the revolutions of the DS and the Wii, and they commenced the confusion of the Wii U. At E3, Nintendo generated extreme excitements with the announcements of Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and Breath of the Wild, and more recently its sequel, among many other Zelda games. At E3, Nintendo surprised us with each of the Metroid Prime games, from the very first one and up to the 4th one, and with the revival of Metroid Dread. Speaking as a huge fan of Nintendo, they often brought their A-game to E3, and that's why E3 was always so exciting. You had the huge energy of so many reveals from so many different companies packed in to 1 week. And of course, yeah, it was so many companies. The rest of the big three also brought surprises to E3. And that's mainly what was special about E3. It had a unique energy, an energy not found anywhere else. It was 1 week in a year to look forward to for, again, this energizing excitement that was distinct. E3 had its flaws, but it was an event with an energy and an excitement unlike any other event. It was an important milestone in the games industry. It was a week where the entire games industry came together and amazed us with their creativity and ingenuity. Without E3, it feels like there is an enormous hole in the year. And again, like I said, it is somewhat disappointing that people like me who always dreamed of going to E3 will never get to have that experience. Nonetheless, we can still cherish the experiences that we did have with E3. Almost 20 years of E3s. Almost 20 years of the games industry coming together for 1 week. Once again, despite its flaws, E3 was something that was truly special, and it is something that will be missed. This was a bit of a somber video, but thank you so much for watching it. I always enjoyed E3, and so seeing it go is somewhat sad for me. But nonetheless, the industry will continue, and nonetheless, we'll still get excitement from other events. This has been Fawful DX of Kiro Tarakai. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.
I feel just like a purple Pikmin.